Alrighty, hello everyone, this is Alan from MysteryMTG.com, and I wanted to make a discussion-based video about the Kaladesh masterpieces and, of course, the more recent serialized cards, which I guess some would say are masterpieces. And this is supposed to be a discussion-based video, so what I'm saying right now doesn't really matter very much. I want to see the comments, and I want to see what you are thinking about this. Do you still care about this? I don't know. The prices show that some people care. But in general, as a game store owner, we just don't hear as many people talk about it. We don't sell as many masterpieces in store. They still sell really well online. And Serialized kind of had that big parabolic rise, and now it's crashing down and people care way less. Now, some of this is still selling for a lot of money, though. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's look at this objectively first. So where would you get masterpieces? You could get them in Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. Where could you get the invocations? It was Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation. And then there were the expeditions, which are also masterpieces, and that's from Battle for Zendikar. So I would say the hardest one hit recently would be the Battle for Zendikar expeditions. Those very few people care about, to be completely honest with you. And I believe that was also Oath of Gatewatch where you could hit those. But people just don't talk about those cards anymore. They barely sell, and the prices have absolutely dropped like crazy. Now, the thing about masterpieces is some of these masterpieces and invocations, namely Dark Ritual, Mox Opal, Mana Vault, Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, have risen like crazy and stay high. Now, this is the thing. If this is supposed to replace this, why hasn't it had the same effect, right? So it depends on the set you're talking about, but the hit chance for this varies. In the most recent set, Ravnica Remastered, it's a 1% hit chance. For Kaladesh, it's 1 out of every 144 packs, so about a 0.69% hit chance. So if you're looking at Ravnica Remastered versus Kaladesh and which one you're more likely to hit a serialized or masterpiece from, it will be Ravnica Remastered. But that changes. So if we go over here, we'll just set this down over here. If we go over here and we look at some of these other serialized, you'll notice the numbers are different. So we have 501 for the first Doctor. We have 500 for these two, one from DMU, or sorry, not DMU, Aftermath, and one from Ravnica Remastered. And then we have out of 100 for the Lord of the Rings. This, of course, being the most expensive, selling for the most money. And I mean, Ravnica Remastered had some really good serialized hits. Of course, the Blood Crypt, Breeding Pools, Hallowed Fountain, Shocklands, etc. Those are going to sell for a ton of money. And then Cloudstone Curio, also CDH staple. So everyone wants these cards if they can get them by cracking a pack, probably. Not a lot of people are going out and buying these cards anymore. You'll notice a lot of store owners who are picking up a bunch of these serialized cards aren't really buying them in collections. They're not really out there on Facebook or whatever trying to buy these or soliciting these cards. No one cares as much anymore. But that's interesting, right? Because masterpieces, you would think the same thing is true, but no. For us, I mean, some of these, of course, let's look at I would say Scroll Rack might be in there, and something like Meekstone, where the prices dropped 30 to 40% from the last year. But you look at stuff like the Mana Vault, the Mox Opal, and those CDH staples, they have not dropped. They're still maintaining great value. This, to me, is a much prettier card. The art, the frame, the foiling, the From the Vault foiling, this is gorgeous. Whereas this is literally just the card stamped. And sometimes it's not even stamped well, to be honest with you. It's not like an especially cool-looking stamp. It's just a foil stamp that says 9 out of 100. Why does this sell for so much money? This is not similar, right? If you look at something like this versus something like this, of course, every day of the week you're going to take this, right? Am I wrong? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Are you taking the Shards of Narsil instead? I don't know. But the cool thing, though, the cool thing about the Serialized is this is a 1 of 1. They're saying, Alan, it doesn't make sense. There are 100 out there in the world. No, the number itself, the 9 out of 100, makes it a 1 of 1. If your favorite number is 9 and your favorite card is Shards of Narsil, that means you're going to have to come to me and you're going to have to say, hey, I'm willing to spend X on this card. I'm going to say, no, I don't want to sell it. And then you're going to not be able to do anything because there's no other listing for a 9 out of 100 Shards of Narsil. So that's where this has a little bit of an advantage. There are going to be more Mox Opal masterpieces. Of course there are. This isn't especially limited. And we have over 1,000 masterpieces, specifically the Kaladesh masterpieces. And we have a ton of the invocations, obviously, and a ton of the expeditions. But these are not especially, they're rare, but they're not, this isn't numbered, right? So this isn't a one of one. Out there, there's going to be thousands of more examples of the Mox Opal, which is what supports the price of this versus this. I want to know, I guess my whole thing right now is we've seen a ton of arguments, serialized being a fad, serialized being something that no one cares about anymore, serialized being something that has been overdone. And I wonder, I can't remember specifically if during 2017 when Kaladesh came out, that people were saying the same thing about Kaladesh and the same thing about Aether Revolt and saying, we don't, because it was an Amonkhet and there was Hour of Devastation and people were cracking a ton of these boxes to get those masterpieces. I wonder if back then there were people saying, you guys need to stop, don't overprint them, they're going to lose their collectability. And then with Serialized, I guess it actually fixes that issue because you're not getting the same frame, you're getting just numbered cards, right? And so every single set, the first Doctor, so with the Doctor Who, this is changed because of the flavor of the set, so it's 501 for the first Doctor. But something like this, right? This would be especially hard to sell. In fact, I think you'd probably get about $60 for this now. When the set first came out, you might have got $200 or $300, and of course that's the hype of the new set. And now it's about $60, which you're saying for an uncommon is still really good. If you're hitting this and you're able to sell this card for $60 versus the 20 cents, the multiplier there is insane. So yeah, it's still holding some value, and I guess you're still going to be happy if you hit it. But when they keep doing it, when Serialized is in every upcoming set, we haven't heard about Murders at Karlov Manor yet. I don't know if Serialized is going to be there, but if it keeps happening, I think eventually, and this is my opinion, but eventually, unless you're hitting the 1 out of 500 or the 1 out of 1,000 or whatever, or the 420 out of 500 or whatever the funny numbers that people want, unless you're hitting those numbers, I eventually think these cards will very likely be worth almost nothing. I think the Serialized cards, even the stuff like Cloudstone Curio, 129 out of 500 or something, I think those cards will eventually be worth like $30 or $40 versus the $3 or $4 that the regular version would command. So it's not like the masterpieces. The masterpieces are their own entity. It's not just biting from another card. It's unique art in a unique frame with the From the Vault foiling, and this really screams when you put it into a deck. And that's why this has staying power. I know there were a lot of concerns when they replicated the masterpiece frame for Aftermath, and ultimately no one cared. No one even puts those cards into this category. They look completely different. They look way worse. The coloring is awful. The depth of the foiling is awful. This is leagues above it. So as a store owner, we still have 1,000+ masterpieces, and we're not dumping. We're not trying to sell it. We're buying more. And that's because we believe in this to be one of the best showcases ever printed, and I don't think they've even come near it. Nothing they've done, including the Phyrexia one completed, oil slick lands, etc. Gorgeous cards, but not nearly as regal and beautiful as the Kaladesh masterpiece. You can say the Amonkhet invocations were not very legible, and I would agree with you. I still think they're very cool. As a World of Warcraft player, it reminds me of some of those older raids, and that's why I like them, actually. But the masterpieces from Kaladesh are just absolutely gorgeous to look at. You play them and people will look at you completely different. Oh, this guy's made of money, which is what you want, right? If that's not what you want, then you're not buying this card. So I know some of you are going to be like, oh, that's not what I want, but that is probably what you want. So let me know below. Are you buying this or are you buying this? Do you even care about this anymore? Does the Serialized matter for you? When the set comes out, are you hunting one? Are you cracking packs for it? Or is it just going to be like, oh, I got lucky and I hit one, I'm going to sell it on Facebook for like 40 or 50 bucks? Is that what it is for you? And then, of course, I want your opinion on the gorgeous, and I know I'm biased, of course, I'm biased, but the gorgeous Kaladesh masterpieces. Are you still going out and buying these cards? Do they have any space in your brain? So I guess this is more of like a survey, right? Do these matter to you anymore? But just look at some of the art. I don't know. I just don't think anything comes close. And it's a mix of the Kaladesh, I don't know what you call it, Art Deco. I don't know what you would call it. I'm not going to attempt to say it. A mix of that art style with this frame, with this From the Vault-esque foiling. It's not super foil. It's not like the From the Vault Angels or anything like that, but From the Vault-esque foiling with the showcase foil and the deep orange hues. I don't think anything comes close to this. I truly don't. I think I really enjoy the Time Spy Remastered foils. That's something I consider to be almost a masterpiece, but I just don't think anything comes close. I want your opinion, though. Am I wrong? Do you think these are going to tank? Do you think people are not going to care about these anymore? Let me know below. I'm very curious to hear what your opinion is. And if you made it this far, I want you to comment, Alan is the king spice opener. And if you comment that below, I am going to give away one Black Vise masterpiece. So we'll give that away to someone in the comments who says Alan is the king pack opener. And we'll give away a Black Vise. It's like $30. We'll give it away. Just comment Alan is the king pack opener in the comments, and you will be entered into the giveaway. Alan from MysteryMTG.com. Let me know what you think below. I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.